Well, here we are, out again. Little bit of product testing today, and we thought it's a perfect time to come back to you with our latest match report. It's been a little while since we've done one, quite a few matches we've fished, but we're going to talk through our latest ones. Obviously, coming into winter, we're going to make it a little bit more relevant, so the last week or so, we're going to go through them matches.
Yeah.
Both caught a few fish, both been out a few times.
Winter leagues and Silverfish are fast upon us. Silverfish matches are definitely becoming more popular at the moment, so... And you've been out? But you've also been out on the river?
Yeah, I went on the River Ouse on a Tuesday Open, practice for the Northern River Masters final. Unfortunately not one I was in, but I had some good friends fishing it. Always nice to go and help them out, try and glean a little bit of information. But it started off with a little bit of a drama, to be honest.
That's right,
we were out filming on the Monday, weren't we?
No casters.
No, Josh Newton's meant to pick my bait up. Typical Josh, can't get hold of any bait for me.
And I got some 3 weeks old casters.
Can you believe it? Your local friendly tackle dealer comes up trumps again. 3 pints of the freshest 3-week-old casters in the back of his van. So I took them, and to be honest, they've done the job, didn't they? I drew. You're not going to believe this. I drew the end peg. End peg in the match. So really happy with that, obviously. The match was on the River Ouse below York. Not somewhere I've actually ever fished, to be honest, but heard a bit about it. Generally, skimmers and bream when the river's up. Really good fishing if there's sort of 3 to 6 foot in, maybe even a little bit more. When it's low and clear, a little bit harder. And it was low and clear. £7 had won the Saturday match, and I think only £3 was second. So the whole thing with it looking like the river was going to be like that leading up to the finals, just about getting bites, putting something in the net. I was thinking if the lads I knew could catch £5 a day, really good target.
Okay, yeah.
So with that sort of happening, I've started off on a feeder, fished a feeder sort of 2/3 of the way across, hoping for an early skimmer or an early bream maybe, with a bit of luck. After about 15 minutes, I've had one really positive bite. Rod was nearly in the river, picked it up, and our little old mate, the Tommy Rough. Unbelievable, isn't it? How do they give you a bite like that? But that was it, sort of an hour in, I've had that one bite, one Tommy Rough, and it's probably ½ an ounce, I would think, so not the best to start.
Okay.
When I plumbed up my pole line, it was on a horrible steep slope, and it just sort of, if I went half a section further, it was getting 18-inch deeper, same if I come back. So I decided on that line to bait drop with some hemp and maggots, just give me an area where I knew my bait was on the bottom, not rolling away, balls of ground bait.
Okay.
And I've loose fed a few maggots over that from the start. And to be honest, I've had a really, really nice 2 hours. Fishing's rock hard, there's not loads of bites, but getting your rig to go through right, presenting it right and feeding right, really important. It was just nice, really enjoyable fishing. I really do like that type of fishing, fishing for bites.
Okay.
Nice strung out rig, sort of really hold onto it as it settles, hold it, and just as it's about to settle, you'd let go, and that's when your bites come.
Okay, best baits?
Maggots mostly, and some of the finest casters.
Tommy Rough casters?
No, these were roach casters, best of the best. And I caught probably 30 roach in the next 2 hours. A lot of them are only ounce fish. I got one real nice 6-ounce roach.
Yep.
And just steady away, I got some bites. The light was horrific, couldn't really see, which to be honest cost me in the end, because I had spells of literally 5 or 10 minutes where I didn't even know where my float was, and I was just randomly striking, hoping I'd hook one. Last 2 hours, the light actually got better, but the fishing got worse.
Right,
and I could see my float, but I wasn't getting any bites. And sometimes it's a tough decision, isn't it? I mean, the weights are low. Do you just eke out an extra few ounces, or do you go out for a bonus fish? And I stuck with just trying to nick an odd fish, and I caught maybe another 10 roach, possibly £1 maybe in them last 2 hours. But as it turns out, really, really important, because when the results come in, £5.6 won the match, £5.4 was second, I was third with £5.1, and then sections were won with sort of 4.14, 4.13, 4.12. So every ounce was really, really important.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, we haven't had a lot of rain, so I assume the river was quite clear. So even though there was no bream weights, it still keeps it really tight. Even though the weights were low, still really, really tight.
Real nice fishing, and in hindsight, I fished an hour on a ground bait feeder. Not caught anything, caught that one Tommy. If I'd have started off on a maggot feeder, might have got an odd, decent roach out in the flow early on. Would have been enough to win the match. But first river match I've fished this year, 3rd place, 40 odd fishing, real nice results. So I was really happy with that. Moving on to the final that weekend, a little bit of water actually come in, and an odd skimmer was caught. And on them northern sort of rivers, I don't know anyone better at catching skimmers than my good friend Ian Exley.
Yeah.
And he's done absolutely brilliant. Won the final overall, £18.
Yeah.
Great result. He was second in last year's final, so really well deserved.
Yeah, he's gone one better.
Really, really pleased to see him win it. So well done to him.
Big prize.
Yeah, £6,000. So he's gone off a happy man.
Big money again.
Brilliant result. Really well deserved. So glad to see that. And I really enjoyed my match.
Yeah.
So, after that, you've been to Tunnel,
Tunnels, yeah. I've started my tunnel campaign. It's something I do every year now. Well, I've been doing it for many a year now, but for this year, it was something I always really look forward to. I actually went to the Drennan Winter Champs, pole champs there, a couple of months before, and sort of like went into this match with a little bit of information off that. And fortunately, the first round, this is the Tunnel Barn Farm teams of 4. So this year I'm fishing with Andy Bailey, Adam Rumble and Jack O'Sullivan, and then I'm already feeling really confident it's going to be a good year. The atmosphere is good, they're like really up for it, and I can feel that. Like I've been there before, and we've actually managed to. I've been fortunate to fish with some good anglers in this competition, and over the years, and I get the feeling already that these lads are, I've got that feeling already. We've got a chance this year. So I drew club first round on it, drew peg 6 on the club, and even though I wasn't too pleased with my draw.
That's not like you.
Yeah, I've just put that to one side. Wind's getting up.
Yeah, a little bit of a gust.
Even though I weren't too pleased with my draw, again, it's team matches and you've got to do your job for the team. So the section was split between the 2 lakes, Jenny's and Club Pool. There was 9 anglers on Jenny's Lake and there was 10 anglers on the Club Lake. So it was just trying to do your job on Club Pool for a start off.
On club, you're not on the best peg on club, and then obviously Jenny's is very good, so you're quite up against it there, aren't you?
Tunnels have pegged it out, probably a little bit generous towards peg 6 because we've got 2 spare pegs either side. Normally you want to be on the ends of on the ends of Club Pole, and on the far side, normally as it gets a bit colder, there's 1 or 2 more carp, dobbin fishing, whatever. So, but it's mild at the moment, and there's some stockies in there, so I sort of targeted the stockies. On the Drennan match, I was actually on the far side. I was on peg 19, and I only had £40, but that was like 3rd on the lake that day. So,
and obviously 19's more the type of peg you would normally draw.
Yeah, that's right. And I think even if I'd have doctored that day to I might have done a little bit better even. So. I should have just targeted the stockies a little bit more on pellets, and probably should have stopped on a little bit longer. So I took that into this match, and fortunately it got me to £45 on the day, and that was second on Club Pool. But Jenny's, there were 4 lads beat me on Jenny's, so I ended up 6th on the section, on the big section.
That's what team fishing's all about, isn't it? Make the most of your draw, not drawing the best peg, obviously, good result, and that's helped the team to a good result, I believe. Yeah,
because of the big section, the nature of the big sections, 19 in a section, you're always going to get like the top 3 or 4, the bottom 3 or 4 are always like split, quite a big difference in the weights, but middle part of the section from like 5th from bottom to 5th, to top 5, there's probably only 5 or 10 pounds splitting, so 1 or 2 extra fish here and there, right down to the final whistle. One fish last chuck can give you 5 or 10 points, big swing. So it's really important. You've got to, you just got to stay with it, to be honest with you.
And obviously the team result.
Team result was really good. First match, we managed to win it. I think we've had 60 odd points. It's fished okay. It's been a little bit indifferent in some areas, but we probably had a rub of the green in the pegs light. So Andy Bailey won his lake, Adam Rumble won his lake, and I think Jack was 7th off a mediocre peg. Done well to come 7th from there. Myself was 6th, so a good result.
A couple of real good team performances in there. And talking about rub of the green, not only did you not win anything, you managed to get quite a good share of everyone else's money.
First year, Adam's decided to come up with a plan of splitting everything. Normally we just split the team money, but this year we're splitting individual money. So them 3 picked up, and I've got my calculator out to split it up. So
lovely.
A few £100 to start the series off on a good note.
Went off with a few pound notes in the hand, and I'm very happy. Individual team win, on the day.
Exactly.
Good start.
Exactly. Yeah. So Silverfish.
Obviously,
started.
I've had a couple of matches at CSA, but the first one was Thursday on Cedar Lake.
Yeah.
Again, bit of a change from I'd been on the river Tuesday, bit of F1 fishing Thursday.
Yeah.
Nice to mix it up a little bit. Now Cedar I love the lake, but it's so moody, and you can go from one match £80–90 winning, next match £30 winning. So we went on Thursday. The Saturday match had been won with £90 odd. expecting the fishing to be good. There's not loads to talk about because it was a case of being patient, sitting and waiting for bites. And one problem that I always have on Cedar now is there's lots and lots of silverfish. So I went with a real simple, hard pellet approach, just tapping in 2 or 3 4mm, fishing a 4mm on the hook, few lines across to the island. I drew peg 18, which is probably changes in depth 8 inches from one bank to the other. So I basically based my whole approach around fishing to the far bank where there was some cover. So it's the same depth everywhere. And just basically tapped a couple of pellets in, nice and patient, working my rig, lifting and dropping, nice strung out rig, and just got an odd bite through the day. And what was weird was every time I caught an F1, I caught 3, and then I might not get a bite for 40 minutes. And I think I finished up with 14 F1s and a carp, 31 pounds something, so low weight considering the weather.
That's right.
But that was enough for second in the match. Luke Hawksworth won that one. I think he had 36 pound.
Even though we've got really mild weather at the moment, some venues respond differently, don't they? Some venues, like even getting low weights, other venues are responding and you're getting some big weights, you know, from venue to venue at the moment.
I mean, I think a lot of the time the fish don't really know what's going on. The days are getting shorter, the weather's staying warm, we're in almost like a bit of limbo. But 90 odd pound had won the previous Saturday, I think nearly 70 pound won the Saturday after. One of them days, rock hard, you get them in fishing, right round the lake was hard, but it's still a match, still fish to be caught. So I really enjoyed it actually again. Nice to be out on the bank, nice to catch some fish, and obviously decent result again. And then moving on from there, second is about as good as it got for me, but Starman.
Yeah, we had a good day back at Tunnels on Saturday. Travelled down, and again it was like good weather again. It's mild, really mild at the moment for this time of year. I was expecting some really good weights. Fortunately, I went and drew Jenny's, which was the other part of the section which I drew the previous Saturday, and I drew the peg that had previously won the match, Jenny's 5, really good area to mow. I got Phil Canning on my right on peg 8, I got Andy Moores on my left on peg 2.
Very good company, man.
Real good company, as always at Tunnels, you know, for that particular competition. And Jay Fouts had fished it the week before and had £100 off it, and I'd actually spoke to him, I'd had a little wander around and had a little spoke to him, and I hadn't quite got the information as much as, like, not that he wasn't telling me, I didn't ask him as many questions as I probably would like to have done once I drew it that following Saturday. So, but I decided to fish pellets across, maggots down the middle. But when I got there was a lot of fish pimping, there was a lot of fish moving, and there was even stirring the edges up. So again, it was like, you know, different to the previous week on the other lake. So I've had to set the lot up to try and cover everything, and now it's panned out. I started on pellets across, and every time I fed, all I got was indications. Tried 2 different depths, but again, every time. But Phil and Andy was the same on this bank here. So I just sort of went down the edges a lot earlier than what, you know, in the past. I've noticed it a few times, and I've gone down the edges with micros and ground bait for a start up. I fed micros this side, ground bait that side. I just wanted to try and find which bait was which fish was responding to the bait best. And to be honest with you, one was equal, but the pellets died off a lot quicker, even though there were still decent fish. So I just changed that one to ground bait, and to be honest with you, I stayed on that for probably 2-3 hours.
I think one thing with that style of fishing is, obviously, like you said, you're getting liners across, maybe missing a few bites, possibly foul looking an odd fish. They tend to be a lot easier to catch in the edge, don't they? Because the fish that are coming into the edge are coming there to eat your bait.
Absolutely. And, like, you know, you got the shelf, and I did find that on one side they were a little bit further out than the other side. There was probably in 3'6" one side, 2'6" the other. But eventually I had to go back across after I'd caught some fish and unsettled them on this bank. I've gone back across on the far side, changed it to maggots, and I've just fished half depth with little 4B8s over there, and I managed to catch some stockies, a couple of slightly better ones. I've been priming the middle line all day, but I just couldn't seem to, just every time I went on it, there was literally nothing there. And then I went back on it with 50 minutes to go, 1 or 2 indications, and finally I just managed to put 1 or 2 of the proper F1s together. Probably had 8 or 9 in that last 50 minutes, which got me to £88, which I was really happy with. Went down to Phil's had £86. There was a couple of other £80 on the lake, and to be honest with you, our lake fished really well considering the venue. It just, for whatever reason, it was flat calm, maybe the bright sun, people said air pressures, and there was like weights around the complex that were £20, £30 from areas where they've been catching £60, £80 a week before. So So I managed to win there, so that was really good. We managed 5th on the day as a team. Lads battled really well to get a 5th. That's left us in 3rd place on 4 points. So again, in that league, you're going to have some ups and downs. You need your seatbelt on, to be honest with you, because it's a bumpy ride. You can have some big swing sections with 19 points up for grabs in each section. So. Yeah, so it was a good start. We've had a good start.
Good start to the league.
Yeah, we're
keep
back
yourself
there,
up there,
back
keep
there
in
this
contention.
Week. Yeah, exactly. And yourself, you had your first Silverfish match this weekend?
Yeah, Oaks Silverfish League, been really looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
So many fish in these lakes, Silverfish.
Yeah.
And they'd had a midweek open on the Wednesday, £50 plus a Silverfish had won it off Alders Lake. And every lake had fished really well.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
By now, I've got about 2.5 pints of 4-week-old Doncaster's finest casters. So again, this man's provided me with plenty of bait and still as good as new after 4 weeks. So
That's it.
if you're after any fresh 4-week-old casters, get yourself to Doncaster Angling Centre. But yeah, really looking forward to it. As normal, I've drawn a fantastic peg 1 on Furs on the point. Now, Furs isn't really the lake you're going to win the match off. Probably Alders is the lake for that. But it's a really nice little lake. It's quite small, quite intimate. And there's 5 of us on there making up the full section. But I love the fishing on that lake and Oaks Lake in particular. A lot of roach to catch and a real big quality roach. I mean, there's some that'll be probably up to a pound, but you don't get many less than 4 ounce.
Right.
Now, weather's still been really mild. Normally when I go on them lakes, I just loose feed maggots, fish through the water, get loads of bites. But with the weather being mild, the fishing being good, I wanted to try and target them quality fish.
Yeah.
And with a lot of leaves on the surface as well, them strung out rigs are hard to fish.
Yeah.
So I decided on mostly fishing worms. So I got my worms, chopped them really fine, put some of the finest casters in with them, and just a little bit of black thatchers, so I could make a little stodgy ball, and I potted them in on the long pole. Threw some casters short, and then just in case the fishing was harder, there'd only been 3 on that lake Wednesday and it had fished well, but with 5 on, could possibly be a little bit harder, smaller lake. So I did loose feed some maggots to my left at 13 metres.
Yeah.
Started on my worms, just kinder potting, small balls in, sort of grape size, and the first 2 hours were unbelievable. Every single chuck I caught a big roach, 4 to 8 ounce.
Casters?
I caught quite a few on casters, mostly on just the head of a worm. And the fishing was brilliant. An odd-eyed, mostly roach, but real big quality roach. And I thought I'd maybe caught 10 to 12 pound in the first 2 hours. In hindsight, probably caught 20 odd pound.
Wow.
Really good fishing.
Nice.
Middle of the match, that line sort of died a little bit. I've been feeding it really regular. Every 2 fish seemed to be best. So where I'd been loose feeding my maggots to my left, I went and had to go on that through the middle. And although it wasn't great and I was catching little fish, sort of 2 to 4 ounce, I kept plodding along and putting a few in the net in that middle bit. But I've obviously had this really good start. While I'm doing that, I've kept potting little golf balls in on my other line of that worm and caster and ground bait mix. And I've gone back to that with an hour and a half to go. And instead of kinder potting now, I've just started potting little balls in and fishing them out. And again, I've had a really good last hour and a half. Some more of them quality roach, a few eyed, and a few bonus skimmers as well. Cast a short line, I didn't catch anything on. Changed it to maggots, still didn't catch anything. The fish seemed to want to be out into the lake, which was surprising because I'm on a bit of a point there as well. So it really does lend itself to fishing short. But for whatever reason, I couldn't catch there. Now, come the end of the match, everyone's caught loads of fish everywhere you look, and I've had this spell through the middle where I didn't really catch. I did, but there were small fish and not massively quick. And I was thinking, well, I've maybe got £30. Someone asked what I'd had. I said £30, and they said I was speaking a load of rubbish, basically. So I went to lift my net out, ready to turn around and say, I told you, and I've got a lot more than what I thought, and I actually weighed in £49.
Right.
So obviously miles out on my guess, which I'm normally quite good at, to be honest.
You don't normally,
Brilliant day's fishing, £49 of silverfish, enough to win that lake in the section. So
it's becoming really popular, these silverfish matches. I think over the next few years there's going to be more and more silverfish matches all the time. You can see them popping up all over, loads of little skimmers in these commercials, and like you say, at the moment there's like it's quite mild, so you get in the eider still feeding and things like that, and the stamp fish. So but it's going to be definitely
brilliant fishing. So I won my section. Obviously that's a perfect start to the league and a decent weight that could come into account at any time. Like I thought, Alders did win the match, but when I'd weighed in as much as £49, I was thinking, well, someone might beat me on Alders. As it turns out, 3 did.
Right.
It was 2 £59. James Woodrow and James Dent, a few ounces apart.
Yeah. Kayleigh
Dowd, 51 or 52 pound on Alders.
Yeah.
And then I was 4th in the match with my £49. So
it's cracking weights.
Great start. And I think £40 won every section basically. So brilliant fishing. Next round's in 2 weeks, and I can't wait for that. Really looking forward to it. So what's next up for you?
Next up again, tunnels on Saturday, Shop Winter League on Sunday. So
busy weekend.
Yeah, maggots, micros again,
Any
soft
casters?
ground, soft fluffy ground baits. No casters.
I've got them all.
They're only 285 as well. If you want a pint or two, they're okay.
Yeah, I've got them all, so it's too late for anyone else. For me, a real change again this week. I've had such a good week's fishing with a variety of fishing. I mean, I've had a river match, I've had my F1 match, Silverfish match, and I've came and had a carp match. And this weekend, I'm actually going on a little tiny stream in Thirst, Codbeck, a little match on there. So it's sort of 6 or 7 metres wide, 2 foot deep, but it's full of fish. And I'm really looking forward to that.
And you hold the record?
Yeah, I actually do. Yeah, I was lucky enough quite a few years ago now, went on a different section, caught almost 70 pounder chub.
Wow.
So shows how many fish are in such a small little river. Really looking forward to going there. Something a little bit different.
Yeah, exactly.
And just breaks things up a little bit again.
Exactly. Yeah,
so
good.
yeah, plenty more testing for us to do today. We've got loads of stuff we need to get through and get sorted out.
Yeah.
So that's it for now. But come back again next time, and we'll be back with hopefully some more good results.